TOGBC, welcome back to my channel, May Between the Pages. My name is Taylor, and today we're going to be filming my March TBR. Now, I'm actually filming this a little early because I'm going to be traveling to the States for the next month and a half. And we're leaving a little bit before the end of February. So I'm kind of projecting what I think I won't finish by the end of February, even though I've still got, about a week left to read some things. I'm gonna project forward what I'm realistically gonna finish and not gonna finish, and kind of imagine what will be a rollover into March. And then I do have a couple things that I know are placeholders for March, but the decision just hasn't been made yet, again, because I'm filming this a little early. But don't worry, they're not all placeholders. There'll just be a couple surprises when I film my wrap up in March, that's all. So the first book is actually one of those said rollovers, which is Of Darkness and Light. I'm gonna be reading that on my Kindle. My goal for February was to focus on finishing series that I was really enjoying, and I focused mostly on The Winnowing Flame, which I read physically, and it just took me a lot longer to read them than I expected. Not because of the books themselves, I adore that series. Well, actually maybe because of the book itself, at least for The Poison Song, because I was so stressed during the middle of that book. My character babies were going through it and it was stressing me out. So I wanted to read all the time, and at the same time I really didn't want to. So it took me a lot longer to read those than I thought I would. So I didn't really jump onto the Bound and the Broken series. By the time I filmed this, I may have started Of Darkness and Light, but I know for damn sure I will not have finished it. And I know Shelly over on Shell's Space is gonna hopefully buddy read the rest of the series with me, so I'm sorry, Shelly, that it took me so long to finally start this buddy read with you, but I'm really looking forward to, really diving into it. The Bound and the Broken is kind of gonna be on my TBR, a rolling TBR of The Bound and the Broken until I finish it, because my goal is to finish series. But the priority book is obviously going to be the next one in the series, which is Of Darkness and Light. The next one is also a buddy read, which I'm so excited for. This past weekend, I think it was this past weekend, what even is time, but I think so, was when we interviewed Sydney from Sid Bookworm and Stephanie from Stephanie Bookish. We interviewed both of them on Page Chewing, and Stephanie and I just had this serendipitous timing when we were both reading or getting into classic or older fantasy. And for those of you who've been around my TBR, for those of you who've been around my channel for a while, you know that I made an older fantasy TBR last year, and I only read one book from that. So I am slowly still trying to make my way through some of these more classic fantasies that I'm interested in. And Stephanie happened to kind of be doing the same thing on her own. And then when we talked during Page Chewing, she mentioned some of the series she was interested in reading, and I was like, wait a minute, a lot of these are kind of on my radar too. So I reached out to her with the next one I was hoping to read, which is The Dragonbone Chair by Tad Williams, and she was like, I just got that from the library, you're kidding me. So both of us are going to be buddy reading The Dragonbone Chair. Unfortunately, I'm having a bit of a problem with my library card, which is basically breaking my heart. So when I return to the States, I definitely plan to get that all fixed up, and I know The Dragonbone Chair is at my library, so hopefully I can get it that way. The next one is a rollover from my TBR Prompt Jar picks from last month. I am kind of historically not the best at reading things that I get from my TBR jar. Seems like the prompt jar is the same. But I do project that I'll be able to finish one of those picks by the end of February. But the one that I know I definitely won't get to is The Goblin Emperor. This is one of those books that I don't know much about, except that it's like a very political book, but I do really anticipate enjoying it. However, I am going to take a couple of my books back to the States with me. I won't be able to fit a whole bunch in the suitcase now that I'm packing for Sumire as well, but I think I can make a little bit of room. So I'm going to be bringing some books back with me, and I've decided this is going to be one of those books. I'm going to bubble wrap the shit out of this thing because it is way too pretty to allow any damage to come to this, but I think I'm going to bring it back to the States with me, which means that it's one of the only physical reads that I, currently have in Japan that I could still do while I'm you know, in the States. So I'm gonna roll this one over. The next reads are the projected SPFBO reads that I hope to finish for the team that I'm on Before We Go blog. Like I said, I've said many times, but in case this is your first time seeing it, I am a judge in the SPFBO9 competition. And so on Before We Go blog, we have a lot of different judges working together as a team. So if one person can't get to a book, another person definitely can. So you kind of pick and choose the ones that you think you could get to in time. There are 10 finalists. In February, I read Hills of Heather and Bone. And then for March, I'm hoping to do either The Daughter of the Beast or Wickwire Watch, or in the best case, you know, I would do both. But I'm probably going to pick one of those to prioritize and make sure that I get my review out by the time, you know, Before We Go blog releases the group review. The next one I definitely want to pick up is in the States currently, but it's one that I want to read from the physical hardback that I have because I think it really adds to the experience, and that is Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. From the tier that I backed in the Kickstarter, I do have all of the ebooks for the secret projects, but I really want to read these physically because the premium feel and the illustrations and the color blocking, just all of that really adds, like I said, to the experience of the story, and I don't want to deprive myself of that. So I definitely want to read Yumi and the Nightmare Painter while I'm home and have that physical, beautiful book with me. And then, you know, I'm not going to put it on the TBR because this is already a lot of books and I'm going to be on vacation, so we'll see. But The Sunlit Man is also the other secret project that I haven't read, and of course I have that physically in the States as well. Maybe that'll be for April because I'll still be in the States for part of April, so maybe that'll be when I read that book. But Yumi I definitely want to get to in March. These next two are the placeholders that I spoke of, the first one being for the Only Good Book Club. We pick a book to buddy read together every month. In February, it was the Kaiju Preservation Society, and like Wrap Up Taylor will give more details on this, but like I love that the Only Good Book Club always gives me different genres and different books outside of my comfort zone to read, but this one I had my eye on for a while. But thus far, not to spoil the wrap-up, maybe it'll blow me out of the water in the end, but like, there's so many pop culture references, and I didn't realize just how much I hated those because I haven't read a book with them in a long time, until now. So even if I end up liking the overarching story, I don't know if I can fuck with all these pop culture references. I don't know. But anyway, we will be picking a new book for March, and that will also be on my TBR. And the second placeholder is a brand new one for my TBRs, and I'm so excited. If you didn't see my previous video, the one before this, that's what previous means, Taylor. But if you didn't see that, I have launched a Patreon. I am so delighted to say that we already have quite a few members that have signed up. We have the private Discord going. It's good vibes all around. And I'm so thankful for this community that I've fostered. Thank you guys so much. If any of my new patrons are watching this video, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I'm very excited that those people will also be able to pick my book for the month, or one of my books for the month. I think what I'm gonna do is go home and take a picture of like my US library, and then the Tsundoku Club and I will go through the books that I have there, and they can pick one from there, because it's very rare that I have access to that physical library, and I don't remember everything I own in the States, so it might be a nice surprise for everyone. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what everyone picks. And finally, the last two spots on this TBR are from my TBR Prompt Jar. So we had one rollover, so I guess technically 3 books on this TBR from the jar. I really gotta get better at filling these, or fulfilling these, but you know, picking them out is like most of the fun anyway. So let's go ahead and pick one. I'll do one from the bottom here. Okay, so 1. And I guess I'll do the one that just fell. Okay, the first prompt is a TBR veteran. Okay, I have way too many of these. A TBR veteran. If you don't know, the main rule that I have for this TBR jar is I have to prioritize books that I own physically, first physically, and then I can look at ebooks, and then if I still have nothing that matches the prompt, then I can go for a new book. But I know damn well that I have plenty of TBR veterans. So let's see if we've got any behind me here. I have read all of those and all of those. I mean, I love that for me, but right now it'd be nice to have some unreads. Okay, I've got The Last Argument of Kings, which is the 3rd book in the I always forget what it's called. First Law, the First Law trilogy. I do have that. It's not quite a veteran, but it has been on there for quite a while. Let's see. Let's go to the other side here. You know what I just realized? This is really dumb for me to be looking on these shelves because I just said that I was going to be in the States and I'm not going to read these physical books. So let me not look behind me here. Let me think about what I remember from my US collection. I'm having a hard time thinking of something off the top of my head right now, which is crazy because of the amount of books I have there. I could probably just say a title and I might have it. But what I'm gonna do is after this, I'm gonna sit down and watch my giant US book haul I did like maybe 2 years ago now. And there are like over 80 books there because it's like 3+ years of book collecting. I'll have that link down below if you're interested. That can give you an idea of some of what I have in the States. So what I think I'll do is I'll sit down and watch that and pick a BookTube veteran from that video, and I'll insert the clip here of me hauling it. This next one is very much like Shadow of the Wind, which is The Devil in the White City. This one I just heard a bunch of people talk about. It seemed like something I would be interested in. Got it from thrift books as well, so it's kind of rough. Got the sticker residue on the back. Oh, it's got some notes in it too. Look at that. Someone really marked this up. Oh, this could be fun actually to read. And so as far as I remember, this is a book about a serial killer, right? Right, this takes place at the 1893 World's Fair, and a serial killer, who is active at the same time. Sounded really interesting. I've heard some good things about it, some bad things about it, but hopefully I can pick this up sometime relatively soon. All right, now let's go for the second prompt, which is excited for but never read. That's my whole TBR. You know what? There's one that really comes to my mind right away when I read that, and that is Sons of Darkness. I've heard so much buzz about this book since it first came out, and the cover is absolutely stunning. And I've wanted to get to this for ages. I know it's a chonker, but I don't have many ebooks on this TBR so far, so I think this could be like an on-the-go book, or possibly plain book. So I think this is the one that I'm gonna pick for the excited for, but never read. Would it really be a tailored TBR if it were reasonable and I could get to all the books? I mean, come on. We're not here for realistic expectations, okay? We are here to shoot for the stars. Maybe I should just start calling these MBRs instead of TBRs. Whatever, I'm gonna let myself live in delusion. These are fun to make. Let me know in the comments down below what your TBRs are for March, or your seasonal TBR, or just currently what you're reading. I would love to chat. Also, if you're interested, I will have the link to the Patreon down below. It will, from here on out, always be in the description. I'll also link the announcement video if you want to know more details about it to see if it could be for you. We would love to have you if you decide to join. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell. I'd love to have you as part of this community, and I appreciate it. But for now, I'm gonna head out. Jenny!